Alright, so I want to start this video with just my cart from Wegmans. I love the new Wegmans. I try to go as much as I can, but don't always get there too often. But I had some time this week. So what I'm making for lunch this week is a Greek Buddha bowl, and I'll get into that a little bit later. For dinner, I'm keeping it pretty simple. I only have a few nights actually this week because I'm heading down to Atlanta for school training. But I'll explain what's going to be what. So in the lower left-hand corner, I have chicken breast. That's going to be my dinner primarily. I try to keep dinner pretty clean and also full of vegetables as much as I can. So I have rosemary marinated chicken breasts. I'm going to have that with riced broccoli, which you can see up in the left-hand corner, as well as these zucchini purees. Wegmans just came out with them. I'm very excited to try it. So again, I try to keep it simple with a protein and a lot of veggies. Then lunch, I'm doing that Greek-inspired Buddha bowl. So you can see feta cheese. I have cucumbers, tomatoes to make a little salad there. I have hummus. I have tzatziki sauce, quinoa, and those packets, those microwave rice packets, I swear by them. It makes it so easy. And then just some other things that I'm really excited to try in the future. These sweet potato tater tots. I have some Fuel for Fire, which is just mashed fruit and protein pouches. Awesome quick snack. And then I got myself some sushi for lunch today. And the awesome thing about Wegmans is the fact that, it's all labeled with the calories and macros. So I could scan in my sushi from Wegmans and it will fit into my diary. All right, so I'm going to start by just overviewing my FitnessPal for you guys. So this is probably the teacher in me, but I just think it's important for me to model for you what I do and how I use this app. It is going to be everything in terms of macro counting. And if you haven't done so, I would highly recommend the premium. It's $50 for the whole year, and it allows you to see the actual macro breakdowns, whereas the free version, I think you have to work with percentages, which just gets a little tricky, especially if you don't like math. So one of the first things that you're going to want to do once I give you guys your macro prescriptions is go to goals. This stuff up top doesn't necessarily matter, but what you want to do down here is go to calorie and macronutrient goals. So this is actually off for me, so I'm going to adjust it. I think I'm at like 172 for carbs right now, 140 for protein, and I want to say I was at like 58 for fats. So then it adjusts. All right, so now it has my set numbers. Now I'm gonna go get out of this, and if I wanted to go to my diary, if I'm looking at today, it has all the numbers up at the top. So if I were to be tracking, and let's say that I added in a food for breakfast, it would subtract from my macros as the day goes on. So the next part of this, I'm just gonna show you guys how I would make a meal and put a recipe into my FitnessPal in order to do that. All right guys, so the next thing I'm gonna show you is how I make my recipes for the week in terms of meal prep. So this is gonna get a little tricky because I'm gonna be bouncing back and forth between recording on my iPhone and the MyFitnessPal on my iPad, but we'll make it work. So one thing that I use a lot as a meal for the week is what I like to call Buddha bowls or just bowls. So sometimes I'll do taco bowls and I'll have ground beef or ground chicken, taco seasoning obviously, and then I'll add in rice and beans and peppers. This week I'm going with a Greek theme bowl, so I'm going to be starting with ground lamb. This is organic from Wegmans. I love Wegmans, and then I'll be showing you guys all the other things that I'll be adding in as well. So very first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to flip this thing over, and here's where it's going to get tricky with the double usage here. But in my FitnessPal, I'm going to go to more. Then I'm going to go to meals, recipes, and food. Right now I am creating a new recipe. What's actually awesome about this app as well is if you had a recipe from the internet, maybe you found it on Pinterest, you can copy and paste it in and most of the ingredients will match. You'll just have to do a little bit of adjusting. but I'm making this from scratch, so I'm entering the ingredients in manually. Name it whatever you want to name it. I'm gonna call it Greek Buddha Bowl. I'm going to make this have 4 servings. And that part's totally up to you. So it depends on how many days in a week you want to plan for at a time. Maybe you're someone who likes more variety, so you could do meals that last you for 3 days and then you'll cook again in the middle of the week. I'm so busy, I don't like to cook in the middle of the week, so I try to make my meals last for 4 days for lunch and dinner, and then have something different on Friday. Okay, so I'm gonna go to add ingredient. And the awesome thing about this app is you can scan barcodes. So, all right, where am I looking at? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna scan it. Comes right up, here we go, organic ground lamb from Wegmans. If the portion size is not what you want, so I'm gonna be using the full package here, I go click this button, and then I wanna do 1 container, 16 ounces. Check, and I'm good to go there. So since I haven't added in my other ingredients yet for the bowl, and I'll explain what that's all gonna be later, I just wanna hit this arrow. I'm gonna save the recipe for now, even though it's just the beef, or the lamb, excuse me, and then we'll come back to how to add into it at a later point. All right, we're back. So we're adding, and I'm just gonna use this as a demo to show you how to weigh and measure some stuff. So I have some chopped cucumber that I'm going to use to make a cucumber salad to go into my Greek Buddha bowl. So how my food scale works, I'll just show you guys. So I have a container. What I would want to do, it does it almost automatically for you. You want to hit 0 so that there is no weight of the container. Now I am going to start adding in my cucumbers, so excuse me while I do that. Okay, cool. So now if we look at the scale, just cucumbers, I have 658 grams. You can change it and do pounds if you want. I think grams is just a little easier for the math at the end. So again, since I'm going to be adding in some of this stuff all together later, what I like to do is just get a notepad and remind myself that for my cukes, I had 658 grams. After the cucumbers, I'm gonna be chopping up some tomatoes and some red onion, so I'm gonna add that in as well. So that's why the notepad technique makes a lot of sense. All right, super quick on weighing meats or anything else that you need to then divvy up into your 4 portions. So I just weighed, this is all my ground lamb. It comes to about 331, 332. So dividing that by 4, since I'm gonna be having 4 servings, and it comes out to 82 pretty much. So then what I'm going to do is, put my Pyrex onto the scale, add in the meat until it says 82 on that scale, and that's how I know each portion for that. All right, so final stages of meal prepping for me. And again, I had to split this between 2 days just because this was when I had my allotted time. So it's now Sunday morning for me and I'm finishing up the last couple of stages. So I have my cucumber, feta, tomato salad. I'm gonna measure it out and then figure out my 8 servings and how much each serving is gonna weigh. So the best way to do that, again, taking an empty container, zeroing it out, and then give me a sec while I measure this out for you guys. Okay, so my cucumber salad comes out to 1,024 grams. So now what I'm gonna do is come over to my handy little piece of scrap paper, just so that I have it. And then I'll go into my calculator on my phone and I will divide this by 8. All right, I'm not gonna do the long division. Can't even remember how to do that. So once I divide it by 8, another trick that I'll do, and I'll show you guys how I do this in MyFitnessPal, I'll write out how many grams the serving is in the MyFitnessPal recipe. So give me a sec, I'll get back to you guys. All right, so here I am on MyFitnessPal. Again, I do all of this on my phone with the app, but for the sake of recording this video for you guys, I have to log on the computer. So here is my recipe. Goes with all the ingredients that I put in, that I had to put in. And right up here in the recipe title is where I like to put how many grams, so that just when I'm measuring, I know that's what it is. So when I divided that larger number by 8, it came out to 128. I like to always just go down a couple, just because, you know, sometimes it's liquid that gets measured in, so when you're scooping it out, it might not be exactly even. So I'm gonna say 125 grams a serving. I have this at 8 servings. And then I'm gonna come over and show you guys how I put it all together as the final touches of my Greek boudin. All right, so just putting this all together for me, I have my portioned out, pretty much everything else for the boudin bowl. I have the ground lamb, I have quinoa and brown rice, I have a tablespoon of tzatziki, and I have a tablespoon of hummus. If you look, when I put this all onto the scale, it has 680 grams. Zero it out, so now that we have nothing, then I'm gonna come over here and take my cucumber salad, and I'm going to measure so that it says 125, because that was what I said was the serving for my cucumber and feta salad. All right, so again, like I said before, I put it in as 125, but if it goes over a little bit, that is totally okay. What? Okay, well that was weird. So I guess I'm not there yet. All right, let's just do this. Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. And again, with this, it's vegetables. So if it's a little off, can't be a bad thing. So I'm just gonna do that for the rest of my meals for the week, and then I'll be good. All right, awesome.